Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson across the United States of America. The phone number 877-973-7425. We got to get straight into the news. Harvard, it was got an importation ban on anti-Semites from the Trump administration, and Harvard is not happy about it. Now, you should know a federal judge in just the last few minutes has blocked immigration authorities from revoking legal status for international students nationwide. Yet another universal injunction, nationwide injunction. The judge is essentially blocked efforts by the Trump administration to shut down the Department of Education per his executive order, and has also said he cannot essentially throw out international students changing their visa status unilaterally, although the law says he can. That was going to get appealed pretty quick. But now the Trump administration has decided, in light of the killings, the murders in Washington, D.C., of the two Israeli embassy staffers by a radicalized Chicagoan, who, by the way, it turns out, Elias Rodriguez, a socialist member of Congress, invited the murderer's father to the president's joint address to Congress at the beginning of the year. It's how plugged in this guy's family is to politics, this murderer who surrendered to the police. He wants the fame, and you've got these left-wing groups have come out in praise of him. It's a wild situation. But the president, in light of all these things, is telling Harvard, you can't bring any more international students in. You done. Harvard has filed an injunction against the president. I'm sure the federal judge will grant it. Now, I got to tell you, my feelings are mixed on this situation. There are a couple of things to consider, because my gut reaction is, yeah, screw Harvard. But when you actually pull the emotion out and you think logically, there are a couple of things here. One, we are essentially telling Harvard no importation of any students abroad at all, not just students from certain countries, but no international students. There actually are a lot of international students we should want in this country. NBC News, of course, is carrying water for the Belgian royal family. The future queen of Belgium was set to go to Harvard and now may not be able to. Maybe we want the future queen of Belgium. She is a wackadoo progressive, though. But other countries are going to start luring these kids to come to their countries, and you do actually have to worry about a brain drain, whether you want to or not. And I know many of you couldn't care less about the issue. But when the best and the brightest come to the United States for their educations, many of them stay, and they add value to our companies, they add value to our culture, they add value to our country. And we essentially have bled other countries dry of their best talent coming to this country and making our country better. That is something you do have to worry about here. And many of you won't want to. You'll come up with excuses to not. But the reality is, there are individuals from foreign countries that we should actually want to come to this country. And we certainly don't want them going to China or elsewhere. Now, the one upside here is it's easier to learn English than Mandarin. So a lot of them do want to come. But you do have to think about that. And the other thing is, as an American citizen, I do have a problem with collective guilt. That's very European and Asian. It's not very American, that we can't import any international students because some of them might be anti-Semites. So we should probably weed out the anti-Semites. Now, having said all that, here's the larger issue and why I'm sympathetic to this particular ban. And it's this reason: because no one has bothered to put up a fight against Harvard's import of anti-Semites. And you constantly see these wealthy kids from Arab families from the Middle East coming to Harvard, University of Pennsylvania, Princeton, Yale, Dartmouth, you name it, Dartmouth less than the others. And they are hoisting Palestinian flags. They're chanting death to America. That they come here, they join these left-wing groups, Students for Justice in Palestine and the like, funded by extremists in the Middle East. And they are anti-Semitic. And we're seeing this on our college campuses. And so while I have those concerns and those stated reservations, part of me is like, we got to do something. And if this is a start. This is a start, and at least it's a sign to other colleges. You got to get your house in order. It actually is something that we do need to consider, is that these colleges do seem to be importing a lot of people who turn out to be anti-Semites. Not all of them, and that's the problem. How do you weed them out? Well, the first thing to do is probably say, we're going to put a ban in place on every foreign student coming to your campus. We're going to give no student visas out to your university for people coming from abroad. And we want to see from you how you're going to determine the people who are coming aren't anti Semites. And the problem is that Harvard wants the anti Semites. Harvard's own faculty is deeply anti Semitic. There's been the report out recently about Jewish students and faculty at Harvard not feeling comfortable on campus, not feeling safe on campus, feeling bullied on campus, the administration not supportive of them. What on earth are we going to do without putting our foot down and saying, I'm sorry, Harvard, you give up the right to import any student because you've been unable to distinguish the anti-Semites from the normal people. I'm really concerned about universal bans like this and the brain drain issue. We should be stealing the best talent from other countries. We should. I mean, our American kids can't tell you the ABCs. They can only tell you the pronouns. We got to import people who are competent. Concurrently, though, we got to do something. There's got to be accountability for Harvard and the University of Pennsylvania and MIT and the rest of the Ivy League. There's got to be accountability. And these universities seem to operate from a position of no accountability. They feel like they are entitled to our taxpayer dollars. Then those taxpayer dollars should come with no strings attached to them. No. When you build a road with federal money, it comes with strings attached. Your drinking age in your state's got to be 21. You know why Louisiana has such crap roads, don't you? In the 1980s, when Ronald Reagan made one of his worst decisions, and that was to raise the drinking age to 21 after being bullied by the MAD gang, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, Louisiana said we're going to make it illegal to buy alcohol, but we're not going to make it illegal to sell alcohol. So the drinking age in Louisiana was still effectively 18 years old, and the federal government ultimately said no highway funds for Louisiana. I've heard people say, "Oh, it's the road settlement there, with they're at sea level and the subsurface settlers." No, the roads in Louisiana suck because the state didn't have federal money to help them with their roads for a very long time. They're getting better over time. Money from the federal government comes with strings attached. Money for highways, one of the strings attached is your drinking age has got to be 21. Money for education for elementary and secondary schools comes with strings attached on who you hire, how you hire them, what curriculum you use, all those sorts of things. Money to college campuses comes with strings attached. And if Donald Trump wants to add a string and say no anti-Semites, Donald Trump is entitled to do that. The precedent is already set. Presidents get to add strings attached to the money that go to these universities. And Harvard's like, you can't add any more strings. You're not allowed. You're a Republican president. You're Donald Trump. You're not allowed to. No, Donald Trump can because he is president of the United States. He's allowed to do it whether you like it or not. And in light of the murder of two Israeli embassy staffers who were in their 20s by a radicalized progressive from Chicago who hated Jews and corporations, add strings. No anti-Semites allowed. We really shouldn't have a problem doing that. We really shouldn't have a problem. And the fact that Harvard and other institutions have serious problems, that's on them. It's not on you and me. It's our money. We shouldn't be giving our money to institutions that fester anti-Semitism in this country. It's starting to get out of hand. It's already been out of hand. Online today, there are actually people who are calling for more violence. There are people calling for solidarity with the shooter. There are people saying these two got what they deserved. And guess what? Many of those voices are coming from college campuses of the Ivy League. We have a real problem on our hands. And whether you like what the president's doing or not, and again, I've got concerns, the universal nature of it, the blanket nature of it. It's on Harvard and the Ivy League and other institutions to fix the problem. I would just note again, you're not getting this level of anti-Semitism at ACC and SEC schools. It's the Ivy League that's the problem. It's the Ivy League that has been indoctrinating kids into hating this country and anti-Semitism. And it does go beyond just the anti-Semitism. The Ivy League specializes in hate America first. Donald Trump and MAGA want to make America great again. The Ivy League specializes in making America gross again. They don't like the country. Harvard's faculty is anti Semitic generally. Harvard's faculty is hostile to the values of the United States generally. Harvard can clean up its mess, or they can be denied access to international students. Now, these international students, they can go to other Ivy League campuses. He hasn't expanded it to these other campuses. So you could go to Yale, you can go to Dartmouth, you can go to UPenn, you can go to MIT, you can go to the University of Georgia, you can go to LSU, you can go to the Ivy, you can go to the SEC, the ACC, the Big Ten, the Pac-10. You can go wherever you want to go. You just can't go to Harvard right now. Harvard itself, its own anti-Semitism report shows how the university has become hostile to Jews. And Harvard seems to pride itself with the number of anti-Semites it imports from abroad. So this should be a warning signal for every other university to clean up your own house, or Donald Trump is going to clean it up for you. And understand why we are at a point where Donald Trump would ban foreign students from coming to the United States. It's because these universities have not policed themselves virtuously. It is because these universities have, in fact, found students who hate this country and hate Jews and seemingly prioritized allowing them on their campuses. You know, there are kids around the world who love the United States and want to come here. And it's just wildly weird to me that the Ivy League seems to not be able to find those kids. They go elsewhere. The ones the Ivy League brings in are the ones who hate this country and hate Jews. So clean up your own house, or Donald Trump's going to do it for you. I know a judge is going to pause this. And the lawyer in me says it's probably unconstitutional. But I think it's a fight worth having. Not because I really agree with it, because I really have concerns about it, but because I think there needs to be a wake-up call in the institutions of higher education in this country. It's like the media covering for Joe Biden now, and they can't imagine why people don't trust them because now they're going back and telling the stories that they didn't tell at the time. The media doesn't seem to understand what the collapse in trust in the American media has a lot to do with. We know they've been lying. We know they hate us. We know their values are different from us. We know their values are antithetical to the United States, and yet they continue to cover the news and they frame it in a way that is anti-American, anti-conservative, anti-white guys, anti-Christian, anti-everything the left hates. The universities have done the same. And if they're not willing to look internally and say, yeah, we have a problem, we're bringing people to this country who hate this country and are turning violent towards Jews, well, then we will clean up your house. You do not deserve my taxpayer dollars. And Donald Trump now says you're not going to get them. Good. Fix this problem and we can revert to normal. But it is a problem that you don't even want to recognize.